Hello and welcome to News Central TV. My name is Mazino Appeal. And the top stories this hour. President Tinubu, other African leaders brainstorm at Energy Summit in Tanzania. Cano withdraws charges against detained End Bad Governance protesters. More than 100 killed in attacks on villages in Sudan's North Darfur state. Details coming up now. Welcome again. Now let's begin by telling you that President Bola Tinubu on Tuesday joined other African leaders at the Mission 300 Africa Energy Summit in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. Tinubu was spotted alongside Tanzanian President Samia Suluhu Hassan and others at the summit. The two-day summit is being hosted by the government of Tanzania, the African Union, the African Development Bank Group, and the World Bank Group. Tinubu arrived Dar es Salaam 8:20 p.m. Nigerian time on Monday and was received by the Foreign Minister of Tanzania, Ambassador Mahmoud Thabit Kumbo, and the Charge d'Affaires of Nigeria High Commission to Tanzania, Ambassador Salisu Suleiman. President's spokesman Sunday Dare had said on Monday that the summit will aim to ensure energy security, affordability, and sustainability. In the meantime, Vice President Kashim Shettima has expressed regret that democracy in Africa is experiencing setbacks, blaming it on complex issues and pressures which include past and contemporary challenges like endemic poverty and insecurity in many countries of the continent. Shatima spoke at the National Conference on Strengthening Democracy in Nigeria, organized by African Center for Leadership, Strategy and Development in Abuja. He was represented by his special advisor on political issues, Hakeem Babamed. According to the Vice President, Nigeria's position as the bastion of democracy in Africa is to respect the sovereignty of people and encourage a return to democracy because citizens in each country desires that return. And now to help us put this into perspective, we're joined by Executive Director Not Too Young to Lead Initiative, Elvis Apobi. Elvis, once again, good evening. Thank you very much for joining us here this evening.
Hi, thank you for having me, and Happy New Year.
Great, thanks. It is indeed the first time we're seeing this here. So, Shatima mentioned the link between political instability and democratic failure. How would you assess the role of political parties and leadership in exacerbating or alleviating such instability?
Okay, for me, I'll go around that. I believe that for a democratic country like ours, if we must make progress, we must, build trust among ourselves. The electoral umpire, which is INEC, must build confidence in the masses. I've been privileged to, be an electoral observer in several countries, mostly African countries. I was an observer in the last general election that took place in Liberia, and I saw how the masses, the electorate were so confident in the electoral umpire. But if you take statistics back in our country, you see cases where electorate will tell you that you have already selected the winners of this election, despite oftentimes it might not be so. But with what happened in the last election, despite we already have winners and it's almost half of a term, the thing is, we must build trust among ourselves, one, and also strong institutions. We must make policies that support and back strong institutions. Because when policies are vetted with bias, when they are vetted with ethnicity, religion, and all that, would have vetted to protect a particular interest, you find that we always have political instability. And that, I think, that's what we are facing as Nigeria, and even in some countries in Africa.
So how significant do you think external pressures such as foreign intervention and global economic dynamics, are they influencing the democratic process in African nations, and according to what Shatima said?
Yes, I agree. We have external pressure from international communities and all that, but let's ask ourselves. Nigeria, Africa is blessed. For me, Africa is in a continent that is blessed with so much natural resources, natural and human resources. if we always look outward to the Western world, we take solace in the Western world in doing a lot of things. Until we start believing in ourselves as Africans, until we start developing our natural and human resources, not to, look outward to seek validations in other countries, we can't get it right. So we must, and that's why I must commend the incumbent, the newly sworn in President of America that has shrunk his immigration policies. Let everybody come back home and, put their country in shape, because when we go to the Western world today, we all want to borrow a leaf from what they're doing. But I believe that it's people that make up systems, and it's systems that make up a working society. Nigeria is blessed with good people. If we can sit down, we already know our problems, and beg good policies, we'll have a working system, and we'll beg good policies, and we'll have a better Nigeria, and oftentimes a better Africa. Let me give you an example. In Rwanda today, Rwanda used to be a graveyard, courtesy of the genocide they faced. But today, Paul Kagame has been able, how he does it, I don't know, but he has been able to move that country from a third world country to be Africa's fastest tourist destination. Almost all the conferences in Africa takes place in Rwanda, and that's to tell you that because they embrace change. It's not the Westerners that did that for them, it's Rwandans that did that for them. So for me, the problems of Nigeria will be solved by Nigerians in Nigeria.
Okay, that's an interesting way to put it. So in your view, how do issues of governance and also accountability play into the pressures mentioned by Shettima?
Yeah, accountability is key, because with that, I think we should look forward to our leadership recruitment process, and to start putting the right people in the right places, and to start playing these money-back policies, and to start making sure people who are elected to make policies for us as a people are people with proven track record, people that are responsive, and people that have had one or two positions before now, and they were very, very accountable, will never get it right. I am a privileged SSA to the governor of my state, Delta State. We are blessed with a youth federal governor that is in sync with accountability. Oftentimes, most of the conversations we have is always geared towards accountability. And that's a governor that is raising a critical mass of young people in Delta State that will not only be responsive, that will be accountable for the positions they've given to them. And should everybody take a leaf from such government, I think Nigeria will be a better place.
So when you take a look at the economy and also the politics in most African countries, what do you foresee in a long-term future for democracy in the continent? Do you think that these trends, or there are trends or reforms that could help counteract these pressures?
Yes. In the last few years, we saw cases where there were coups in some countries, mostly within the West African region. But there's an opinion that says those countries are very well. But for me, I still prefer democratic settings that we're practicing in Nigeria. But what I will advise is we should stop seeking validations outside, because if I don't have anything to take from you, you will have to, put pressure on me to want to take something or want to influence what's happening in my country. And for our economy, Nigeria, I read the news the other day where we are proposing 87 trillion for crude oil. I think it's time we diversify. We are blessed with other natural resources. So people must grow our economy. We must have a stable economy. One thing I believe is our greatest natural resources is in the potentials of the large population of young people. And it's time we started growing those potentials so that we can grow our economy and even Africa at large.
Okay, well, that's good. Thank you very much, Mr. Akpobi, and good to see you again for 2025.
Thank you, and thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Now, more news. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has warned that Nigeria could lose its hard-fought democracy if it continues on the current trajectory. He spoke in Abuja as a panelist at a national conference on strengthening democracy in Nigeria, organized by the African Center for Leadership, Strategy and Development, the Center for Democracy and Development, the Westminster Foundation for Democracy, the Peering Advocacy and Advancement Center in Africa, and the National Peace Committee. Atiku said some of the challenges political parties were facing had moved to governance. He said the challenge He said the challenge should be to see how the National Assembly, through various laws and legislation, can help ensure this objective is achieved. And in Edo State Governorship, the Edo State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal has convened at the National Judicial Institute in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, over petitions filed in relation to the September 21st, 2024 governorship poll. The tribunal adjourned its proceedings to January the 30th, following the failure of the People's Democratic Party to present additional witnesses in relation to their petition, which is challenging the election result. The counsel to the PDP had informed the tribunal that their intended witnesses faced travel disruptions, which rendered them unavailable to testify before the court.
We took the PW12, he was cross-examined. And during cross-examination, he admitted that they have 4,198 polling units in Edo State, but they only challenging 765 units, which is 16.7% of the entire polling units in Edo State. And secondly, he also stated that he was never accredited by INEC to perform any function during the election. So it was okay, and then they were supposed to take another witness today, but they told the court that their witnesses are not readily available. So based on that, the matter was now adjourned for continuation of hearing to 30th day of January 2025.
Now let's take a break, and when we get back, Nigeria deports 828 illegal immigrants in 2024. Details coming up after. Welcome back. Now, the federal government on Tuesday disclosed that it repatriated 828 foreigners to their various countries in 2024. Speaking at a media parley in Abuja in 2024 on Tuesday, Interior Minister Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo said the exercise was carried out by the operatives of the Nigerian Immigration Service. However, the minister did not make mention of any criminal acts or criminal elements among those who were sent out of the country. Nigeria's constitution states that immigrants who wish to reside in the country must have permits for residency. The NIS estimates illegal immigrants in the country to be about 300,000, who are mostly from Chad, Niger, Benin, and Cameroon. The minister stated that the residency permits of expatriates would not be automatically renewed henceforth, except for special reasons. About 240 residents of the Kura local government area of Cano State have been employed as the state government reopened its garment-making center. This was made known by the state governor, Abba Yusuf, as he commissioned the center, saying that 120 residents have already been trained. Our News Central's Emmanuel Bagudu reports about this.
Garment-making center, according to the Cano State governor, was established in 44 local government areas of the state during the administration of former governor Rabiu Kwankwaso. However, the centers were abandoned by the successive administration, leading to their collapse and a loss of job opportunities for many.
Somebody by his left, maybe some of you might guess who I was talking about, telling him, please allow me to commission those garments. You did an excellent job. If you commission them, I don't have anything to commission. Please allow me to commission. And Senator Rabi Musa said, okay, Commissioner Works, stop worrying yourself. Somebody who is taking over from me, by the grace of God, will commission them, will add what we did not do. That it will now become an elephant job. He will, that person who is entrusted will not commission it. I have been vindicated. 8 years after, nothing was done. The clusters were left so unfortunately The government that took over abandoned this important project, leading to the vandalization and theft of several of these critical items from these garment industries.
The governor called on the beneficiaries and community members to maintain the facilities and ensure the sustainability of the program. The government says that the beneficiaries will also receive special training on entrepreneurship and further grouped into a cooperative society. In Cano Central, I am Emmanuel Bagudu.
Now, the Lake Chad Basin, once a thriving source of livelihood for over 30 million people, has been under the spotlight for years due to shrinking waters, insecurity, and climate changes. Now, despite these issues, remarkable progress has been achieved through coordinated efforts by the Lake Chad Basin Commission and the Governors Forum. Our News Central's Umaru Kirawa assesses the programs and progress made and the challenges ahead of the start of the 5th Lake Chad Basin Governors Forum in Maiduguri, Cano State on Wednesday.
Fishing and large-scale farming is the major occupation of the people in the Lake Chad. More than a decade of insecurity in the region, occasioned by terrorist activities, internal and cross-border displacement, destruction of lives and properties has impacted the people of the region. While some families have the opportunity to smile and pick up the pieces of their lives, others still struggle and rely on handouts.
Dadin wanda yana da miliyan 30 yanzu ko miliyan 5 ma babu saboda hanya wannan an kashe kaya ja biyo ta Niger ja da kaya a kawo cikin gari na kawo cikin gari kudin ka kashi da kashi a kaya wannan kamar kashi uku kashi biyu duka babu.
The 4 countries of Nigeria, Niger, Chad and Cameroon have applied persuasive strategies accompanied by military strength to slowly turn things around in the region. This has led to the settlement of some communities.
We have facilitated the repatriation of over 30,000 refugees and internally displaced persons, helping them return to their communities and restoring their normal lives. During Operation Lake Sanity 2, which was conducted from the 23rd of April to the 23rd of July last year, we dismantled crucial terrorist logistic bases, neutralizing over 310 terrorists and crippling their operational capabilities.
Insecurity, primarily due to the presence of the remnants of Boko Haram and other terrorist groups, hampers progress. Many communities are still inaccessible to aid workers, delaying recovery efforts. The Lake Chad Basin Commission and the Governors Forum have been critical in peace-building efforts in the region.
If there's one platform that has brought together the countries, Francophone and English-speaking countries in the Lake Chad region to a unifying table, is the Lake Chad Basin Governors Forum. And this has come to stay. From the first one to the 4th one, the improvement in number of attendance, in number of commitment, in number of projects, and the interest from our donors and our partners, civil society organization, and the impact we see across the affected communities at the Lake Chad Basin states shows that this is a platform for peace, this is a platform for unity, and this is a platform that has come to stay to better the Lake Chad Basin region.
This region has suffered a lot, but they were able to resist. People of the region were able to resist what was going on, and they have devised internal strategies to handle issues of peace building, even though there are international interventions with regards to peace building. But you can still talk about the local strategy that the people have come up with. Just a simple example of the civilian JTF that resisted the insurgency for a long time.
The regional stabilization strategy have been important in uniting Chad, Nigeria, Cameroon and Niger, one of the fallout of the report of the 4th Annual Governors Forum of the Lake Chad Basin Commission.
The major challenges these countries are facing is economic imbalance. There's economic imbalance between the countries. The financial status of Nigeria is different from the financial status of Chad. So in terms of funding, it makes it difficult for them to fund. Even if they concept a good idea that they want to prosecute, they will have to look at the financial implication and their status economically. So this is one of the challenges. And another thing is the challenge of language barrier.
There is need for LCBC and the governors to come together to discuss how they are going to collect more data, integrate this data into their policies, their programs and their projects, and how to also leverage on this data to know additional problems or underground problems that we may not see at the surface.
We hope there will be more improvement in terms of transborder trade, transborder roads, transborder integration, and as well as the regional stabilization strategy for the Lake Chad region.
As efforts continue to return stability to the Lake Chad area, integration of regional data into policy framework and proper implementation is believed to be critical in the quest to address the emerging challenges in the region. In Maiduguri for News Central, Omoru Kirawa.
On Saturday, the Chinese community in Nigeria and Nigerians came together to celebrate the Chinese New Year in grand style. This event, held in the heart of Lagos Island, was a colorful showcase of culture, tradition, and unity. This year marks the Year of the Snake, symbolizing wisdom, elegance, and intuition. News Central's correspondent Bettina reports.
It was an electric atmosphere as hundreds of guests, including Chinese nationals, Nigerian dignitaries, and other community members, gathered for the festivities. The celebration kicked off with a traditional lion dance, a spectacular display of acrobatics and vibrant costumes. The performers wowed the audience as they moved to the beat of Chinese drums, believed to ward off evil spirits and bring good luck.
Spring Festival is the most important traditional holiday in China. Stands for reunion, auspicious, and prosperous. My sincere appreciation to all the friends who have been caring for and supporting China's modernization and the China-Nigeria friendship.
In 2024, the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation Beijing Summit was successfully held. Chinese President Xi Jinping met with Nigeria President Bola Tinubu and together announced the elevation of China-Nigeria relations to a comprehensive strategic partnership, opening a new chapter in China-Nigeria cooperation.
The event was not just a celebration of the Lunar New Year, but also a symbol of the growing ties between China and Nigeria, emphasizing the importance of cultural exchange in fostering unity and understanding. Traditional Chinese dishes were also a highlight, with a blend of Nigerian flavors symbolizing the cultural harmony between the two nations.
The Lekki Free Trade Zone continues to stand as a shining example of the synergy between Lagos State and Chinese investors, driving industrialization and job creation.
The Chinese New Year celebration in Lagos was not only a reminder of the city's diversity, but also a testament to the growing cultural bridge between Nigeria and China. In Lagos, for News Central, I am Bettina Nwili.
Food hygiene is a critical aspect of public health, as it plays a significant role in preventing the spread of illnesses and ensuring the well-being of individuals. Now, the World Health Organization estimates that contaminated food causes over 200 diseases, ranging from diarrhea to life-threatening conditions like kidney failure. On this note, stakeholders in the Onigbongo local council of Lagos State have made deliberate efforts at sensitizing the residents, especially food vendors, on the need to imbibe safe practices when handling edibles.
The program giving us an advantage of at least putting more effort in our neatness, so that you can at least, your environment, where you're making your food, the environment and everywhere to be clean.
Health is wealth. So the greatest of all wealth is health. If you are not healthy, you can't be productive. When you have a society that is healthy, that consumes food in the appropriate manner, you can't even quantify the benefit. It's a lot of benefit when you have a very healthy citizenry. So it is all about the health and safety of our people.
Food hygiene is very important, but it's underrated. You see people washing fruits in the gutters. You see people washing fruits in the gutters. You see people handling food with bare, dirty hands. And it's detrimental to their business at the end of the day. People can just wear their normal clothes they are wearing outside. You've been out in the sun all day doing different things, and you come and carry it to your kitchen. You're carrying bacteria to your kitchen to cook. That's when you hear that, oh, we went to such and such place to eat and then everybody purged. Or we bought food from Madam XYZ and then some people died, or some people were ill from eating, or we bought beans. So this is just an avenue to cut that occurrence within the local government.
Coming up, more than 100 killed in attacks on villages in Sudan's North Darfur state. There's more coming up after the break. And you're welcome back. Now, more than 100 people have been killed in attacks on villages near El Fasher, the capital of Sudan's North Darfur state. Residents and an armed group, Sudan Liberation Movement, said the latest round of violence was caused by the paramilitary rapid support forces. The RSF has been attacking villages in the Kadeda area east of North Darfur's capital for around a week, part of what appears to be an effort to tighten its grip on the historic capital of Darfur region. Al-Sadiq Al-Nur, a spokesperson for the faction of the Sudan Liberation Movement led by Mini Manawi, accused the RSF of committing genocide in Brush village, alleging that more than 100 unarmed civilians, including women and children, and the elderly, were killed. In an appeal for peace, former President of Malawi, Joyce Banda, has called on Rwandan President Paul Kagame and his Democratic Republic of Congo counterpart, President Felix Tshisekedi, to engage in dialogue aimed at resolving the ongoing conflict in the DRC. Banda made these remarks during a recent interview with News Central held on the sidelines of the Women Mediation Lunch in Johannesburg. She emphasized the urgent need for dialogue. She also highlighted the devastating impact of the conflict on the region and the critical importance of collaborative efforts to restore peace and stability. The former president not only called for engagement between leaders, but also emphasized the critical role that women must play in peacekeeping and conflict resolution.
The problem in DRC, like in most places where there's conflict, is for us to be honest with ourselves and with each other. What upsets me is that it is not even rocket science. We know where the problem is. Why are we skating around it? If I know that the conflict that is happening now involves you and I, why do we go to look for a third party to get involved to solve this problem? When people can talk to you and me. So what must happen now? And with the involvement of women, and I'm saying this to women across Africa, wherever we are speaking now, about the desperate situation in DRC, which, by the way, is affecting more women, girls, and young people, is for us to face the truth and to face the leaders that are involved. We are hearing that the DRC, it's about the president and the president of Rwanda not wishing to engage, not wishing to enter into dialogue. This conflict continues. So the way answering your question, what I think must happen is to get this president and this president to a table to discuss. And the way to do that is not the Western way where you're arrogant to the two of them. It's not necessary. But for you to paint this picture that you see on the ground, Mr. President, we have always known you as a kind man. Look at this. Look at the suffering of these people. While you have a problem with each other, how can we ensure that these lives are protected? For me, right now, urgently, is to make sure that the two leaders are engaged.
Now, U.S. President Donald Trump has signed an executive order to remove what he called transgender ideology from the military, marking a significant move that could set back LGBTQ rights. The order is part of a broader set of initiatives that also include plans to build a U.S. version of Israel's Iron Dome missile defense system and reinstating service members dismissed for refusing the COVID vaccine. Trump, who previously promised to reinstate a ban on transgender troops, claimed that the military had been afflicted with radical gender ideology and argued that such policies were incompatible with the demands of active duty. The decision has drawn strong criticism from LGBTQ advocates.
And next, to ensure that we have the most lethal fighting force in the world, we will get transgender ideology the hell out of our military. It's going to be gone. In addition, we will stop our service members from being indoctrinated with radical left ideologies such as critical race theory. We're going to stop it. It's already been stopped. It's already been halted, totally halted.
Annalise Dodds, the UK's development minister, announced that additional UK-funded aid has been sent to Gaza following the recent truce between Hamas and Israel. The aid aims to provide urgent support to those returning to northern Gaza, where many are facing severe shortages of shelter, food, and medical care. Dodds emphasized the dire need for assistance, particularly as people attempt to rebuild their lives after the conflict. The UK's commitment to increasing its humanitarian efforts highlights the country's response to the growing crisis in the region. The aid package is part of broader international efforts to address the widespread suffering in Gaza and provide essential relief to those affected by the ongoing violence.
Today I can announce that the UK is investing in the ceasefire. We've all seen scenes of people returning to what were their homes in northern Gaza. They desperately need shelter, food and medical support. Well, the UK, with this announcement, will be providing that. And I can confirm that just this morning, UK medicines were transported into Gaza on a Jordanian helicopter. I'm really pleased that UK military planners were able to help with that initiative. We'll keep working with our partners, including Jordan and UN agencies, also including UNRWA, so that we can get that much needed aid into Gaza and support the ceasefire.
France has issued a red weather alert for parts of Brittany on Monday as a powerful storm caused severe flooding with levels not seen in decades. The storm, named Hermenia, brought heavy rains to the Ille-et-Vilaine department, where the city of Reims experienced its worst flooding in 40 years. The situation remains critical, with weather authorities warning of worsening conditions. 8 additional departments are on orange alert for flooding, flash floods, or avalanches, particularly in the French Alps. Over the weekend, authorities in Reims evacuated around 400 residents from streets near the Saint Martin Canal, converting gyms into temporary shelters. The rising waters caused houseboats to float at the same level as parked cars, and authorities warned that it could take until Wednesday for water levels to begin to recede.
Surtout hier, on nous avait annoncé sur Vichy-Cru 20 cm dans la nuit de samedi à dimanche. En réalité, il y a eu 60 cm et puis en plus hier, 60 cm. Là aujourd'hui, on a une maison qui n'avait jamais été inondée, enfin à l'intérieur, le garage oui. Et aujourd'hui on a mesuré là 35 cm exactement. Cette maison-là, on l'a depuis 85, on l'a vu en 95 dans le garage, 99, 2001, mais pas dans la maison à ce point-là. Il n'en avait pas eu dans la maison, c'était juste un tout petit filet. 35 cm.
Il n'y a plus de courant. Ça s'est coupé parce que, en fait, depuis les dernières inondations, on a surélevé nos congélateurs et tout. Et ils sont à 1 mètre de hauteur. Et là, ça dépasse les 1 mètre dans le sous-sol. Donc, ça fait discuter le truc, mais en tout seul, on a aussi jusque-là.
Serbian Prime Minister Milos Vukovic announces his resignation on Tuesday following months of mass protests triggered by the deadly roof collapse at Novi Sad's train station in November. The tragedy, which killed 15 people, sparked outrage over corruption and poor oversight in construction projects. Vukovic, who had been in office for less than a year, made the decision after meeting with President Aleksandar Vučić, hoping to ease growing tension in the country. Novi Sad Mayor Milan Đurić also resigned, stating that stepping down was an act of taking responsibility and restoring public trust in leadership.
I zato, nakon ovog događaja sinoć u Novom Sadu, moja neopoziva odluka je da podnesem ostavku na mesto predsjednika Vlade Republike Srbije. Ja sam jutros imao dug sastanak sa predsjednikom Republike, pričali smo o svemu, pričali smo o ovome i prihvatio je moju odluku, prihvatio je moje argumente.
Let's take a short break now. When we get back, business and sports. Welcome again. Let's do business now. The interest rate spread, the gap between lending and deposit rates, has been a persistent issue in Nigeria's banking sector since liberalization. Compared to regional and global benchmarks, Nigeria's widespread suggests systemic inefficiencies and also economic distortions, as regulatory policies and tight monetary conditions further exacerbates the situation. Consequently, interest rate spreads in Nigerian banks have surged from 6% to a record 19% between 2023 and 2025, raising concerns about their impact on economic growth, financial inclusion, and investment. Tilewa Adebajo, CEO, CFG Advisory, explained why CBN's Monetary Policy Committee has been increasing MPR pause.
People make a mistake as to understand what monetary policy is. Monetary policy does not react to the situation it finds itself in the economy. If inflation is low, then nobody wants inflation in any economy because inflation consistently has destroyed economies. So in a situation where you have high inflation, you'll expect rates to be high to be able to tame inflation.
Okay, so
when in time when interest rates were low, where inflation was low in Nigeria, and then monetary policy is low. So monetary policy only reacts to what it has in its environment in order to be able to control and retain economic stability.
In 2024, traded funds on the Nigerian exchange outperformed their underlying indexes, emerging as a strong investment option, with some ETFs delivering return as high as 1.6 or rather 116% and an average year-to-year gain of 45% as of December 20, 2024. They surpassed the 33% average YTD gain of their benchmark indices. Today, we will be considering the growing role of exchange-traded funds in wealth management and investment strategies. Deshuchetutu Ajagun, Portfolio Manager, Vativa Capital Management, explains what ETF stands for.
Exchange-traded fund. And for simplicity's sake, what does that mean? It is a fund that, tracks an underlying index or that houses a basket of securities that is trading on an exchange. So in Nigeria, for instance, we have the Nigerian Exchange Group, right? So we have ETFs that, track different indices that are trading on this, Nigerian Exchange Group. So I think to also further break it down, another way I like to explain ETF is, I always like to tell people to imagine ETF as, you having a pack of small chops, right? Mind you, you have that pack of small chops that gives you access to assorted chops in it, right? So all you just need to do is buy that pack of small chops and you have access to everything. You have everything.
And now sports. Super Eagles captain William Troost Ekong has expressed excitement following Nigeria's draw for Group C in the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations. Reflecting on the 2023 AFCON, Troost Ekong emphasized the team's wealth of experience and readiness to handle the competition, among other things.
AFCON 2025 draw now over. Very exciting to see the new group. Tunisia, Uganda, Tanzania, 3 teams that need to be respected. I think we have the experience now to know how to handle these situations. There's no such thing as an easy game in Africa, and yeah, I stand by that. But I believe that we have everything in our team to make sure that we come out of this group and this time go all the way. We learned so much last year from the AFCON in Abidjan, but this time we'll be more ready and be working hard throughout the year to make sure everyone is fit and ready, and everyone is looking forward to getting going under the new coach. So yeah, exciting year ahead and very happy with the AFCON draw.
Nigeria Football Federation President Ibrahim Gusau has expressed confidence in the Super Eagles' prospect for the upcoming AFCON 2025 tournament. Following the draw, which placed Nigeria in Group C alongside Tunisia, Uganda and Tanzania, Gusau stated, "It is not a bad group, as I am optimistic that we will lead the group." Gusau's optimism is fueled by the Super Eagles' recent performances and the progress under the current coaching staff. He emphasized that with proper preparation and teamwork, Nigeria can excel in the group stages. The NFF president also assured fans that the federation will provide all the necessary support to ensure the team's success. And Ademola Lookman has suffered a serious injury in Atlanta's final training session ahead of their crucial UEFA Champions League fixture. The Bergamo outfit are poised to lock horns with Barcelona, with the chance of sealing automatic qualification to the next round of the Champions League. On the line, Lookman had been on course for the most prolific season of his career, with 14 goals and 6 assists for the Bergamo club so far. And that's all the news this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories. President Tinubu, other African leaders are brainstorming at Energy Summit in Tanzania, and Cano has withdrawn charges against detained and bad governance protesters. We also told you that more than 100 people have been killed in attacks on villages in Sudan's North Darfur state. Now do remember you can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and of course on YouTube. Many thanks for watching. My name is Mazino Appeal.